Hello there, welcome back to Jennie Designs with Paper. Thank you for stopping by my channel today. I am making an art journal page, so get comfy and let's get crafty. This is the mood board for the Artsy Trio Facebook group. This is mood board number 30. It is titled Frosty February and was created by Bea Grav. I have printed my mood board on a piece of just regular copy paper. I'm going to be using a few of the elements from this mood board, the heart shape, the red, lots of things. To start with, I have a piece of pattern paper. This is an old K & Company pattern paper, and it's meant to look like a stacks of letters or envelopes on top of each other. I have cut it down to two pieces that are about 5.5 by 8.5. I'm going to use some fluid medium to glue these two pieces together so that I have that scripty thing on the front, but also on the back, because, you know, I didn't like the back of this paper as much as I liked the front. I am spreading that liquid medium around. This is a gloss medium, but I'm not worried about it because I won't be seeing it. Wow. Words are hard. English is hard. Speaking is hard. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I forgot that I needed to put adhesive or medium on both pieces of paper to have them give that slippery, you know, the movable minute that you have with liquid adhesives. Y'all, I feel like I cannot even speak English right now. I have Invisalign, I have braces, which has created this weird lisp in my voice that I've not had before. And as I'm getting farther into my treatment, they're just getting weirder and weirder. So I'm sorry. I sound like I don't know how to speak English because, well, let's face it, sometimes I don't. But anyway, with adhesive on the back of both pieces of paper, I can take a minute to move them around and line them up. And once I have done that and cleaned up my work surface, I am going to add a layer of clear gesso to the front of this paper. Why am I adding gesso? I am adding gesso to create a more water tolerable, wow, y'all, sorry, tolerable surface for my art, for my creating. Why am I using clear gesso? Because I want that script to the writing to continue to show through the gesso. One of the images on the mood board was an old antique document. And so that's where I'm getting that script idea from. I'm going to go ahead and heat set that gesso. It doesn't take too long. And when it dries back, you won't see any of those lines or the brush strokes. To add texture to my art journal page, I'm going to use a couple of stencils. This one is the Reverse Chicken Wire by the Crafter's Workshop. I don't even know, y'all. I also have what is supposed to be light and fluffy modeling paste. And clearly I did not get the lid on tight because it is dry. In fact, when I was done with this video, I threw the rest of that tub away because I could not hardly get any out. However, I did get enough out to use on my page, and I've sped this up because this did take a minute. I am coloring that texture paste with some acrylic paint. This is Vintage Photo from the Distress line, and I am just taking my palette knife and pushing that now brown texture paste through the stencil on a couple sections of my art journal page. I kind of rotated the stencil a little bit so it wasn't exactly the same repeat pattern. But I'm just going to add that in a couple of places, one in the top, one in the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and stick that stencil in a sink and clean up my work surface and add texture with another stencil. So I'm pulling out that dried out modeling paste or texture paste or whatever it was supposed to be once upon a time. And this time I'm going to add color to it with a red acrylic paint. This is a mica paint. It has a little bit of gold in it. Not that that will be noticeable later. If wishes were fishes, I would do this part last so that I did not lose the mica, the gold flecks in it, but whatever. It is what it is. anyway, just mixing that up with my palette knife in fast forward motion again. And this time I'm going to be using the Falling Hearts stencil from Simon Says Stamp. And this has been in my stencil stash. It might be like one of the first stencils I ever purchased, to be honest. So it's been in my stash a decade, probably a decade. Yeah. Oh my gosh. My craft products have been around a while. So a couple of videos ago, I asked you to leave a comment to tell me what your the oldest thing in your craft room was. And my mom, she's so funny. I love her. She watches all of my videos. She comments on most of them. And she said, the oldest thing in my craft room is me. And she might be right. The oldest thing in my craft room is me. Okay, now that I have that, the hearts down on my art journal page, I'm going to add a little bit more of the distressed or antique or vintage look with some distress sprays. I pulled out my distress water bottle and suddenly it is not functional. I don't know what happened. I'm going to have to take it apart and see if I can figure out what's going on. But I was trying to get some water on my page so that when I've sprayed down this, this is antique linen spray, it would move, and it's not. So I grabbed a wet paintbrush. I'm kind of moving that around, and it's too light. I don't love the color. So once I got this moved around a little bit, I decided it is not giving me the look I'm going for, even with all the water from that paintbrush. So I actually pulled out a different spray, and this one is walnut stain or vintage photo. Maybe it's vintage photo. Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember, and I already put it away. I really should, make a note of these things. I think it was vintage photo though, because when you add water to it, it does dry back quite a bit, and that walnut stain is a little bit darker when it dries back. So I sprayed it along one side, and then I'm using a wet paintbrush to add water to one side to kind of get it moving. And when that wasn't doing what I wanted, I just flopped it down in the front of my desk and did that old ink smushing technique. While I am drying it, I'm adding a little bit more spray and a little bit more water, still trying to coax my spray bottle to work, and it is not having any of it. So I sprayed some more on my work surface, and I just full on smashed my page down the front of it. And this is why I said I wish I had saved the hearts for last, because they did lose their shine. And then I put it away to dry, and I literally came back days later. I think it was 2 days later, because I knew what I wanted to do on the front, but I couldn't figure out how to make it work because I put all that texture paste down. Yeah. So after multiple attempts of other things, what I ultimately decided to do was pull out these infinity heart dies from Hero Arts. And we're going to zoom through this again because this took a hot minute. And I put the dies on my page and just trace them with a pencil. This is a regular mechanical pencil. I have a favorite. It's one with the twisty top eraser that comes out the top. Yeah, that's my favorite mechanical pencil. I don't know why. Maybe because it's green. Who knows? Anyway, I just did a collection of hearts. I started with 6, and then I added more. So to color them, I'm using my my Derwent Inktense pencils. And again, this is going to be super fast motion. I have 2 colors, a darker and a more mid-tone red. And I drew these hearts on here, or traced these hearts on here in layers. So I was very cognizant of which heart was behind another heart and which heart was in front. And I'm taking this darker red and I'm outlining mostly the left side of all of the hearts. And then any place where a heart is underneath another heart, that's also going to get a little bit more of this darker texture for shadow. And this took a hot minute. I think I did 3 layers of ink. Why Inktense pencils? Inktense pencils are a watercolor medium that goes on in pencil form that is permanent once you have water activated all of the pigment. And here's where I'm adding that 7th heart, because 6, you can't have even numbers. You have to have 7, and there was a blank space. And, well, you know what they say about blank spaces. You got to write something in it, right? All right, so here's my first layer. I'm going back with the second layer to add a little bit more depth and dimension to, again, just that left side, because this is the darker side, the shadowed side. But why I chose the Inktense pencils was because they will dry permanent. As long as I use water to activate all of the pigment, they will dry permanent. And that is something I appreciate about or for an art journal page. Sometimes you want the pigment to move around, but in this case, because I have specific shapes, and here we're going on to layer number 3. Oh no, we already did layer number 3. This is the outline. So I grabbed the bark pencil, and I'm outlining my hearts, being careful to, pay attention to what's in front and who's in back and all of those things. And then I'm going to use a much smaller watercolor brush and outline that and go over the outline to activate all that pigment. But because this is my focal image and because I don't know what else I'm going to do to this page, I didn't want any of that pigment to move. I wanted those shapes to stay defined. Okay, so here's my hearts and here's my mood board. And I have the script from that bottom left corner. I've got the heart shape and the red. I want to add the scroll work and a nod to the white because the mood board is titled Frosty February. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of heat embossing with white embossing powder. I have this old Stampin' Up! Stamp set. It's some flourishes, which is why it's still in my craft room 15 years later, 14 years later, however many, because those flourishes are useful on every type of project. But I want to make sure that my embossing powder only sticks to the flourish. So I did take my anti-static powder tool, and after I made sure the whole page was dry, I dried it off real good and then put some anti-static powder tool on my page. And I'm going to put this largest flourish on a block. I don't really care if the entire stamp is on a block because, quite frankly, I'm going to be stamping off the edges anyway. So who cares? Sorry, didn't mean to spit in the microphone there. Oh, goodness, y'all. Braces or something extra. This is why middle school children get braces, because they're already awkward. Okay, I am going to stamp in the opposite corners that I put that reverse chicken wire texture paste in. And once I have that stamped up with VersaFine ink, I'm going to use a spoon and put it in my embossing powder. This is Brutus Monroe Alabaster White Fine Detail Embossing Powder. I like this one because it is a really true white. It does not tend to pull back the colors from the underneath, so it stays nice and white. And it looks kind of cloudy and weird now, but just wait until the heat tool gets pulled out. Just wait. There is this magic that happens with heat embossing, which, is joked about being the gateway drug to paper crafting, but heat embossing is magical, man. It is so cool. So again, I am putting that flourish also in the other corner. I did turn it a little bit so that they look like they are coming, like the more open flourished ends are coming together to kind of draw your eye to the center of that page. The flourish does go over my hearts. Totally okay with that. 100% okay with that. So here is the heat setting. And there will be parts of this embossing powder you didn't even know were on the page until you heat set it. And then boom, there it is. All right, so here is the majority of my page. I am going to add some more white with a Jelly Roll pen. This is a number 10. And mostly I am using this to add a highlight to each of my hearts, at least where I can that's not covered up by the embossing, the heat embossing. And that just adds a little bit of dimension and a little bit of interest and a little bit more of that nod to the frosty part of the February mood board. So yeah, just being very, you can see I'm holding that pen like I don't even have a care in the world, right? So I have the script, I have the filigree, I've got the heart, I've got the red, I've got the white. I'm going to add one sentence sentiment. This is a little sticker I created with a little thermal printer that one of my children got me for my birthday because she knows how much I love craft things and all the things I can use for the craft things. But also I can use it to make labels for things in my craft room. Once I have the backing peeled off of this, I did punch it with an old Stampin' Up! Punch. that is in my stash still because it makes these beautiful, perfect little oval-ended labels, which is why I kept it, because it's awesome. I use it a lot. I'm going to stick that little sticker to the center right side of my page, and it just says Hello February. 2 little words, Hello February. I did create this page closer to the beginning of the month, but life happened and I did not get the footage edited and uploaded. Going to sign and date it, February 2024. Then I'm going to pull my punch out and punch holes in the left side so I can add it to my A5 size binder. I will flip the page over and use some liquid adhesive, Tombow Mono liquid glue, to glue the mood board to the back of my page. Just because that's what I do, right? That's just what I do. That's how come I know why I created what I created, right? This is how I know what my inspiration was, and this is just what I do. And that is the mood board, or the art journal page in its entirety. I like how it turned out. There's a couple things I would do a little different order next time maybe, but I do like how it turned out, and I really do like those Inktense pencils. They are a pretty cool medium. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've added a couple of other videos here I think you will like as well. I've also added that subscribe button. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you did. Leave me a comment down below and tell me how you feel about February. Give me a thumbs up. Have a really great day.